Everyone, what's up? It's me again, Junkmaster 3, and it is time for another uh, underrated list, or what's it called? Underrated, overlooked, or forgotten horror movies, which I think should deserve way more credit and much more appreciation from the horror fans out there. And of course, this is just my opinion about this film. So some people would probably say, "Oh, these films they're a piece of shit," but this is just my personal opinion. So yeah, don't be mad if I recommend any of these movies and you say, "Oh, that's a terrible title." Well, that's up for you, and everyone have their own opinions. So yeah, let's begin right away. The first movie is a midnight movie. Don't hear a whole lot of people talk about this one. I don't really know why, because I think the premise is very interesting. It's basically about these a couple of friends who goes to this theater, or this cinema, and they watch a slasher film. And of course, the slasher in the film actually gets out from the movie screen and starts to attack the audience. I really think that's a really awesome premise, to be honest. I think it's been done before. I think Demons was one of those, but that was not like a slasher film. That was more like a monster film. But yeah, I think the premise might have been done a couple of times before. But when I saw this, I don't think I had seen any of the other ones that I'm thinking of. So yeah, but anyway, this is a really interesting film. I mean, some of the characters are a little bit annoying, but yeah, I really like the slasher in it and the whole premise. So yeah, Midnight movie. Then the next one I'm gonna recommend is a movie which I think I might have talked about a little bit before, but yeah, another one which is really I think people know about this film, but I think many people think it's garbage. But I'm a big fan of this, and I have talked about this one before, so I'm not going to talk that much about it. But the next one is Shrooms from let's see here, 2007. I believe it's like an Irish film. It's about these couple of friends go out to the woods to basically yeah, they go on a trip with these mushrooms, and they get hallucinations of all type of sorts. And the thing which I really like about this one is it's sort of like a slasher setup in a weird way. For those of you who have seen this already know about that, but it has some ghost elements in it as well. And something that I like about this one is the whole visual things. I mean, the visuals and the locations where they shot this, and the whole darkness of the entire film. I just love that. It has some really interesting humor in it as well. Some people would say, just like I mentioned with the Midnight movie, that some of these characters are just so stupid and annoying. But um, the whole visionary things about this one, like the whole editing of it as well, is really clever in my opinion, and I think more people should appreciate it or check it out if you're a fan of yeah, these type of films in general. So yeah, Shrooms. Then we have a film which I don't think it's maybe underrated, but I think more people should know about it. And the movie is Deranged. This is from 1976, and it's about the Ed Gein case. And of course, Ed Gein inspired films such as Psycho, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, amongst others. I believe even Silence of the Dead Lambs was another one of those. And this one, which came out 74, I believe. So that was that the same year as Texas Chainsaw Massacre? I believe it might have been. But yeah, in this movie, the Ed Gein is not called Ed Gein. It's called he is called Ezra or something, and he's portrayed by what's his name, Robert Splossom, I believe his name is. He is so freaky in this. I mean, his performance alone just makes you really want to. Yeah, he's really such a creepy character that I think more people should appreciate this one. And yeah, that character really freaked me out when I saw this the first time. So yeah, for that actor alone portraying that character is just whoa, really cool. uh, I believe that this movie has some really cool gore and blood effects in it as well, if I remember correctly. So yeah, Deranged, really really entertaining film in my opinion. Then we have a film which probably some people would say, oh, that's not a horror film, but it's like an action sci-fi, but still has some sort of horror elements to it, because there's mutants in it. So yeah, judge for yourself if this is like a horror or not. It's maybe more, I would say it's more of an action sci-fi film than a horror film, but it has some horror elements to it, so that's the reason why I included it in the list. And the movie is Mutant Chronicles. This is another one which comes under the same category, like these survival type of movies, which I really enjoy, like, oh, who's gonna die next and how, and you really cheer for some of the characters that they should succeed with their missions or with their mission. So because Earth is basically um, getting overrun by these mutants, so it's up to like a small group of soldiers basically to save the whole entire planet before it's too late. And yeah, I really love the setting and the whole like atmosphere in this movie. I know for sure that some of the effects are pretty damn crappy, if I remember correctly. I think there was some really stupid CGI in this, but overall this is a really tense and entertaining film. And I know for sure it's more of a sci-fi action film than an actual like horror film. But like I mentioned before, some horror elements, so that's the reason why I decided to include this in the list. So yeah, Mutant Chronicles. Then the last one I can recommend here is another one which I think is for some reason overlooked and sort of forgotten in a way, I believe. The movie is called Exquisite Tenderness, and I believe this is also known as The Surgeon. I believe I have another release of this film in that release, but this cover art just sells it for me, because that other release I had is like a Swedish release, but that movie has, or not that movie, but that release has a really terrible and boring looking cover art. But this cover art I've always been a big fan of. It's about this slasher type of guy in a hospital who's basically like crazy, and he's like disguised as like a doctor or something, going around killing people, if I remember correctly. And I think he is also in this movie. Like I see here, Malcolm McDowell and Charles Dance have some roles in this. I believe they have minor roles in this, but still I remember that I really enjoyed it because it's like a slasher type of deal. So yeah, Exquisite Tenderness, also known as The Surgeon. Yeah, somewhat of an underrated slasher. This came out in the mid 90s, I believe, so maybe that's the reason why not that many people know about it. So yeah, The Surgeon, also known as Exquisite Tenderness. Now, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed and didn't get bored, and I hope to see you again as soon as possible. So see you next time. Bye bye.